or give attention, because attention is not nothing. It's actually energy. Yes. But when you give a certain level of attention to something, it actually changes the behavior of a thing. So that's the reason why we become very stingy with our time. When we talk about the time that we spiritually align, we don't play and allow distractions. We don't mind folks calling us rude. You understand? Because I know that you can't break my focus, because I'm trying to affect something here. And the only way that I can do that is with my what? Undivided attention. I'm affecting something that I can't see. And I know this particular thing is working. So over time is when I understood, dear brother, that I was affecting another dimension in another realm. And then when I was going through the greatest trial of my life, which took some years, having lost my property, my businesses, I was going through a divorce at the time. There was some deaths in my family, and I was coming out of civil litigation and then facing criminal trial. And so these messengers started to form. These messengers started to come to me. And one that came to me actually said that he came to give me a code. He left. I won't say here on the platform what happened, because I keep this talk in certain types of environments, because I don't know if you know this or not, but you know, you powerful enough to know that there are different energies that's watching you. You know that, right? Oh yeah. And so you know there's only certain things we say at certain times in certain places, right? Watch this. After this particular supernatural occurrence took place, brother, this messenger that came to me told me that he came to give me a code, but he left and didn't give me the code, Brother Rich. And you know that in law, we use the word code, right? We even call certain things a codex, and certain things, that's even a legal term. I was so distressed because it was such a real experience for me, this being that came to me, but he didn't give me this particular code. I called the closest person at the time to me that was still living in Mississippi as a spiritual mentor to me, and said, explain to him what took place. And you know what he told me? He didn't know what to do except to tell me, keep praying for the code. Well, I did that. And over some days, perhaps even weeks, guess what happened, Brother Rich? What? I was getting ready to return a DVD that I got from the library that was based on a true story. I won't say what it is because people will know what it is. I was going to return it without watching it. And the Spirit said to me to watch it. Well, in this particular movie based on a true story, there was a literal 3-letter code that was in the movie. Less than 24 hours later, that was on the Saturday night, right? The next day was Sunday. And across the street from my house was a red Cherokee truck. And it was a sister that I knew. She was a spiritual lady. She didn't call me, Brother Rich. She didn't text me. She didn't give me any notice. And she apologized for showing up to my home unannounced. Guess what she did, brother? What? She said that she wanted to share with me a dream that she had. Messengers came to her in the dream for me. She listed 2 of the law firms that I was in court with at the time by name. She told me about a peephole in the package that they gave her in the dream. And she said when she pushed the peephole back, the 3 numerical codes was the exact code that was in the movie the night before. Whoa. These were contractual energies and entities that were working using other individuals, you understand, and movies to let me know how we was using it. And I use that code for other things in my life, which I won't talk about right now. But that would not have happened, is what I'm trying to tell you, if I didn't activate the law of observation through my prayer time. I was reading a contract, activating a contract that I didn't even realize that I was in. And the other parties to said contract, you understand, were responding to me. And they assisted me in my life, not only with miracles, not only with breakthroughs, watch this, and not only through difficulty, but I was also able to make certain requests and also receive certain benefits, watch this, and certain protections based on those contracts.
Wow, amazing. Amazing, Vicky. I want to take a couple of questions from the family. I'm not going to keep y'all. I'm not going to keep Vicky for too long tonight, but I do want to get, they love this in the chat. I was just looking at the chat. They absolutely love this. This is every time you come here, Vicky, you do an absolutely magnificent job. I know you're going to do your thing on Sunday with Red and Blue. So yeah, shout out to y'all indeed. But give me some, shout out to everybody watching. Give me some questions for Vicky Dillard. before we get out of here tonight, family? Give me some questions. Let me see. And shout out to Kellen Sandifer for the super chat. Vic, you got a Cash App? Do you have a Cash App?
Yes, sir, I do.
What's your Cash App?
$ OPW.
That stands for all of it.
Yes.
$ Say it again.
OPW. VICKI.
That's it.
That's it. The OPW stands for On Purpose with Vicky. So gotcha. OPW Vicky. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. So I shared the sister. I mean, to get a message like this tonight is definitely something that you got to appreciate. If you would like to show some love and show some energy to the sister, you can send a donation to Cash App, $OPWVICKI.
Thank you.
All right, family. Yeah, sorcery. Yeah, this is y'all see the hat. Y'all see the hat. Y'all see the hat. Sorcery in full effect tonight.
Wow. I love that. Thank you.
So, all right. So let's get to this question here. And I've seen people talking about this on the internet about this topic. What happens if you break a contract? Is that even possible? Talk to me about that, Vicky.
Actually, yes, it is possible. The reason why I say it's possible is because some of us don't understand our own divinity. And that's one of the reasons I gave the example of not only was I able to attend some of the spiritual assemblies and councils and the ethers, I said they came down. You understand? So there's a level of authority and power that we also have, but because we're trapped in these avatars, we think that somehow that these other energies and entities or beings are all greater than us. And of course, there is a hierarchy. Don't get me wrong, but let's not get it twisted, our own divinity. So in terms of breaking a contract, it absolutely is possible that one could break a contract. I think some folks like to call parts of that a karma in our world, when there are certain things and there are certain agreements, unfortunately, that pass down to even our children. And there are contracts that sometimes folks are actually in, right? That they don't even know that they're connected to. But again, through pattern recognition, and to be honest, going to trusted spiritual practitioners and our own spiritual life can give us a bit of insight in terms of whether or not that's taking place. But yes, to answer your questions, yes. Now, for me, I'm going to be honest with you. I gave the spirit realm the middle finger. When you are, because before I was found guilty in federal court in an unjust case, my messengers came to me and told me that I would be dealing with the legal proceeding. They told me what would involve and who would be involved in. They just didn't tell me I was going to be found guilty. Oh, Brother Rich, I had this information, I journalist, so I certainly had it and can prove in no limit of time some of the knowledge I had before the actual trial. That being black boxed and shackled and bussed and flown between multiple states to federal prison in Texas and looking at 20 years and giving 5 and fighting your case with the hope that you will win the appeal, that, I was kind of just a little bit of Brother Rich is everybody and everything. And that's how I operated. That's how I moved. And then even when I was in the transfer centers and the other jails and prisons, before I ended up being in the ultimate location that I would serve the rest of my time in, so many supernatural things were happening to where folks were spontaneously, strangers that saw me for the first time would begin to prophesy, Brother Rich. And they would put a demand on me even when I was in the belly of the beast, and there did miracles. And I was refusing to engage with them because I was like, get me the hell out of here. You understand? Yeah. But there was even a work that I was doing there because I couldn't believe that this was a part of the contract.
Right.
I couldn't believe that was a part of my destiny. Dang. But I continued to persevere, Brother Rich. I continued to move forward with it. Miracles and wonders ended up happening. And here we are today. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no, definitely, definitely. Very interesting. You tell some interesting stories, Vicky. I tell you, you
It's
got
my
some
life.
you got some interesting stories.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Okay. So this is a good one. People often want to know, how would one know what is their contract? They're like, what the hell is my purpose down here? What's my contract? How would they
It's
know that?
That's such a good question. I answered that earlier.
Mm.
Because we're multidimensional beings, there's going to be a level of unknown that we have. And I'm going to just use this as a simple principle. I like to use this often. This is a revelation I'm using a movie for this, okay? How one knows what is their contract. The Jason Bourne principle. Mm-hmm. What do I mean by that? If you saw the movie, the first movie, Jason Bourne, in the movie, for those that may not be familiar, Jason Bourne is about, it's based on the story of a U.S. assassin, right? So this U.S. assassin is supposed to be on a hit, right? And he was going to take out his particular target, which was an African official on a boat. He's the one that came up with the whole thing, whatever. But that ended up being foiled, that particular hit, right? And the person that he went to take out actually turned around and shot him. And he ended up floating in an ocean somewhere, right? So he was really supposed to be dead, but some fishermen found him, saved his life. But when he came to, he had amnesia, Brother Rich. Mm-hmm. He didn't know his own name. He didn't know who he was. Yep. Mm-hmm. So once he got off the boat and the fisherman gave him a few dollars to send him on his way without him knowing who the hell he was, watch this. As he sought and searched, somebody say, know myself, know thyself. As he began to search, as he began to meditate, as he began to engage the spirit realm, right? Because that's the only way you're going to find out. Mm-hmm. Bit by bit, he started putting pieces together, right? To find out who he was, but he had to go hunt and search. Watch this. As he was on a hunt and a search for who he was, Brother Rich, he found himself in some other inauspicious circumstances, right? But while he was moving along to figure out who he was, Brother Rich, he realized that he knew other languages. Mm. He ended up finding out that he had multiple passports and resources that he didn't know why he had access to these things. Watch this. He was being threatened and could have lost his life, but he was able to fight, and he didn't know how he had all of these abilities and aptitudes. Where did this come from? Who am I? Mm-hmm. All of this assisted him on his search. Watch this. And him having amnesia, not knowing who he was. Mm. All I'm trying to say to you, ask, and it is given. Oh, yeah. Seek, you shall find. Knock, and the door shall be open. There is no other way. And that is the best way to learn about your contracts, by following everything that I said from the beginning of this broadcast and actually living this thing out. That way you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt. And that is the only way you become victorious. And that is the only way you live a supernatural and miraculous life and fulfill that contract. That is the only way you engage your spiritual team. That's the only way. Jason Bourne.
Indeed. You know, Vicky, just for me personally, I remember when I was in this sister, this question is a question a lot of people have.
Yes, it is.
I remember when I must have been about 18 or 19 years old. And I started watching videos, and, I'm listening to brothers like Bobby Hemmett and other people. And in my mind, I just said, I think I could be good at asking questions. I picked up a notebook. I had a notebook at home, and I was like, let me think of some questions to ask. There was no internet. This was just a VCR tapes back then. And I started writing questions. I'm like, damn, I might be good at this. So I decided to start, right? I started filming years later, probably when I was about 23 or something like that. I started filming and asking questions, and things was going great. And, I was like, yeah, I like this. And I remember my mother passed away when I was about 24. My mother passed away. and it was like a rough. And I remember I was doing Blog Talk Radio at that time, and I stopped doing my show. You know, I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like one of the first people on Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk was booming, and I just stopped doing my show. I didn't want to do it anymore. And I remember just being a street vendor in New York City, and so many people will come. I mean, so many people, overwhelming amount of people. And I want to thank y'all will come up to me and say, Vicky, yo, when you gonna get back on the radio? When you gonna do a show? Yo, I love your questions. And so many people said, I said, damn, they like me like that. In my mind, I was like, I knew my show was good, but I didn't know the level of how much. So many people, yo, Rich, yo, you so good at it. And I'm like, damn, I think I was right all along. Maybe I should get back to asking questions and doing this. So I remember I had a grand plan, and I made a return because I left Blog Talk, and I made a return to YouTube. And that's when I had started a show with Professor Griff, Zaza Ali. I had a show with Dick Gregory, and I had a couple of other shows on YouTube. Wow. And it's just been booming since then. But I think saying that to say, my intuition told me that that this might be something that I'm good at. And then the world confirmed it. The people kept telling me, and I was like, damn, I think I was right.
But say it again. Your what told you?
Intuition. You talked about that. Intuition.
This is so to my dear sister Shay. You're following the clues. You're following those subtle nudges. You understand? And again, this goes back to the lab. You have to act on the subtleties. You have to act on. I think what you say. I think I could be good at that. You understand what I'm saying? It's the subtle. The almost, and this is one of the things that I teach my students. It is the biggest shifts, and there was some sort of quote, but I'm going to say it Vicky's way. The biggest shifts that I ever experienced in my own life came in very small packages. It was the subtleties. You understand? Yeah, the greatest shifts is when you cooperate with those particular clues. Look at it that way and act on each clue. It opens up the next step and the next step and the next step. This answer that we're given, because we're multidimensional beings and we're actually trying to embody this life in the contract, it's not going to be just an explicit thing because you're living it out. Follow the clues, act on it. You got it, breadcrumbs and clues. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And like a detective, right? Look at all the stuff that the detective has to piece together just based on what? A piece of hair. But he uses that hair to what? Figure out the DNA of somebody later, right? Then you turn around and say, wait a minute. You start looking around and say, wonder if there was any witnesses around here. So you start to knock on the door of the apartment next to the one that you, right? No, nobody's over there, so-and-so. And then you walk out and somebody's coming upstairs and say, well, so-and-so moved out about 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. So then you follow that clue. Yes.
There you go, sis. Oh, this is beautiful, y'all.
And so from there, then you turn around and you say, well, so-and-so said this don't even make no sense. And then she said it was this, and the time to reconcile with that. You following that, and then you begin to put the pieces together. And can I tell you something? This is the best way to manifest your contract and to manifest destiny. You know why? Bro, can't nobody tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing, because the universe is my university. It's my teacher. And as you begin to follow the clues, and what did we say? That intuition, that internal stenographer, that court reporter that was present in the ethers when the proceeding took place before your contract, that's already in you. But you have to go within, and the only way you go within is you activate that through what? Meditation. And when you give something an attention, when you observe, right, yourself, what happens? You're ultimately affecting the behavior of something. You're going to activate something. Something will begin to happen. You understand?
Yes.
And then that's where that courage comes from. That's where that confidence comes from. And that's when you, like the sun, because of your own letting your light shine and the energy and the blessing that you bring to the earth, the sun is also the thing that the other planets what? Revolve around. Other planets begin to move and things begin to shift because what? You've upgraded. So that's where it starts. That's the beauty of it.
Beautiful, y'all. What a beautiful conversation. Let me now, another concern with a lot of people, and I noticed this with this isn't a question, this is a comment. And I noticed this, Vicky, just being on the internet, being on Instagram, being on YouTube, reading the comments. I said, wow, Vicky, I said, a lot of people do not like life. They don't like the way things are structured in this world. They don't like the way the government does things. They don't like the way people do things. They just don't like this world. They're not fond of this world at all. So this person said, WTH, I know what that means.
Yes.
What the F was I thinking to come here? It just makes you want to take yourself out. It's just hopeless. So the question I want to ask you, Vicky, because a lot of people feel like this, do you think a person would say, they would hear this show, Vicky, and I see somebody write this earlier. They said, no way I signed up for this shit. I don't believe what this woman is saying. No way I signed up for this shit. Do you think some people were forced to come here because of whatever something they had done? Or do you think everybody knew what they got into coming here? They accepted it and they just forgot Jason Bourne and they just got to deal with it. And once they leave this realm, they're going to remember again, oh yeah, that's why I decided to come here. Which one do you think it is?
So Jason Bourne, when he